AGS cooked, China cooked, Smilegate cooked, L save. I mean, you can hope, right? For me, however, I'm what they would call cautiously optimistic. For the super glazers, I mean, that would be called dooming because you're not glazing along with them. I actually don't think it's impossible that Smilegate can fix their mistakes and put Lost Ark on a road to recovery. And truthfully, with most other games and developers, I actually wouldn't even entertain the thought. However, historically, Smilegate has done this before and made gigantic changes to Lost Ark and saved the game from the brink of end of service. That was Season 2 or the launch of Tier 3. The game received a massive overhaul on par with A Realm Reborn. The overall endgame design was changed, a lot of things were repurposed. I mean, yes, granted, now we have director Mr. Shakedown, but it's not like Smilegate has forgotten the past, hopefully. But since this has happened before, that does give hope that it could happen again. With that part of Lost Ark's history in mind, you would think I would be Mr. L save too, right? But just because I remember that they did save the game, I can also remember that they did screw up a lot of things too. We are here at this situation at this point in time because they continuously fucked up between. When Tier 4 was announced, there was a lot of L's saved in that situation too. And it turns out everything got progressively worse and much faster than Season 3 ever did. A single system like Elixir's that nobody really looked took like 6 or 7 different changes for it to be acceptable. Not loved or liked, but acceptable to the point that people don't really care that much anymore. And the changes happened so late that people didn't really have to interact with that system much anymore. It was just like for a new alt or the rare new player. And this is just really common. Things don't get addressed until they're outdated. Because at the end of the day, if you are complaining about the game and you're still paying for it, you're still playing it for it, they're still just going to continue doing it. The reason why they are actually acting on things now is because people are quitting. In the past, they have canceled other game modes. There was like a Mario Party mode, basically, and there was also a mobile-like mode. There were other things that they wanted to add, but people said no. The hardcore community says, we don't want this. They said, my bad, King, we'll get back to it. They have let us down many times before, and saying they do half measures to fix these things would actually be too generous. From here, I could go on a big rant on how much I hate the term investment when it comes to just throwing money away into an MMO. The game could go end of service next week, you can lose everything, you're just finding a way to cope with spending money. It is okay to whimsically spend your money on a game if you want, but just don't sugarcoat it with bullshit. It's not an investment. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is just kind of like a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me situation, except for they fooled us many times into an L-save situation, and we should know better. So overall, from the Korean stream, the direction of the game and the changes all do sound good. They do sound like they will be healthy for the game and shake things up. Comparatively to the old change to the gem system, this is definitely better. Getting rid of the AP bonus and just giving people the option to bind them and swap them is really good, I think. Obviously, this doesn't save the gem system. There's still a lot of things wrong with it, but it is just a better choice than what they did before. The initial gem change was like 5 steps back, now we're like 2 steps forward, so they still got to make more changes in my opinion if they really want to address the gem system. They claim they will make progression cost less, even if it hurts them financially. If they really want to convince somebody like me of that, they're going to have to turn the game into something that you don't need even a roster 3 to keep up with current progression. There are people who play the whole roster 6 not because they want to, but because they feel like they need to. And now they are trying to add other ways to progress, and they're also adding other types of content like the ARPG mode, and they said more casual and fun things. It is really important that they address the current content a bit more as well. A big thing with Lost Ark across all regions is the fatigue that you get from this game and how much of the same thing you had to do day in and day out. That's why Guardian Raids went down to 1 a day. That's why Chaos Dungeon got a big change, now it's just 1 run a day. But a lot of people do this because they feel like they have to. And so if you add on new content on top of it and they still have to do this, or they still feel like they had to do this, then it comes to a detriment still. We use words like job and homework because this game requires just to put in that time. And I already know the counter argument is, well, you don't have to play. You don't have to do all this stuff on every character. But the game is designed this way psychologically because they know people are too weak to not do it. Lost Ark players are gambling addicts at a casino. It is designed like this, and they know a lot of people are going to give in. There are 3 things that I think will determine Lost Ark's fate. Well, maybe 4. The first 2 kind of come out with a pair, which is the changes announced, which we vaguely talked about, and then also low on summer. From what I read in KR, there's still a lot of people on the fence with the game, saying that, it's just not good enough. So I think what's going to be the make or break it is really how aggressive they attacked a lot of these things that they've discussed at low on summer. The other 2 things are a little bit more out there. The first being Lost Ark Mobile. It is having an upcoming announcement here soon, and I think the success of it, or the potential success of it, could greatly affect the future of our Lost Ark, OG Lost Ark. This mobile version of Lost Ark is said to not only be mobile, but also console PC. But as we all know, mobile and gacha games are just hugely successful. They are a big money dump. They financially just work all over MMOs at this point. And they do the one thing that MMOs are seemingly incapable of. And I think you know where we're all going with this. Mobile game design respects your time. Shout out to our boy Stops for making this a forever meme. But I am very serious. I do think it will adopt the low maintenance design of gacha and mobile games. And this could mean a lot of things for our version of the game. A few potential things that could happen. It could be the dark timeline. It could be that it's so successful that they don't see a point in running this version here. No, I don't think that's a likely scenario, but it is a scenario. Now, this also could be a way for people to transition into the OG version of the game as well. There could be a lot of people who get a taste for Lost Ark, what it has to offer, and decide to try the OG game itself, and we could see a rise of players from that. But I think most importantly, and the most reasonable thing that's going to happen, is that they are going to see kind of what this game design can do for them. There is a chance that they understand the importance of casualizing the progression and just making the game more user-friendly. This is beyond whatever plans they currently have to kind of ease up the progression. Lost Ark Mobile could end up being like this test bed for them to realize what they need to change about OG Lost Ark to make it more casual friendly. And I do believe we're going to see a lot of current Lost Ark players play mobile, try it out, and then they're going to see a lot of comparison. We're going to see a lot of feedback of what they did right, what they did wrong. And since these are coming from people who have been playing OG Lost Ark, it will be pretty important information and not baseless. And so from mobile, I think they can actually learn a lot, which is kind of the same thing with the other factor, which is Tencent China. Their willingness to bend the knee and alter the game towards their community shows a lot of potential for Lost Ark, as the other reasons react positively to what changes they make there. Granted, yes, that is not a perfect version of the game. It's not faultless. I'm sure it has its own problems to deal with, but that shouldn't take away from the things that they did good. So this isn't me saying you should quit the game. I'm not saying change will never happen. Again, I'd say I'm cautiously optimistic. What I am saying, however, is you shouldn't get too ahead of yourself. Don't pop off before the match is over.
Oh my God! Genius! So smart, he couldn't burst because of the super. But Washiga thinks it's over!
Not like this! What are you standing up?
The concepts are good, but the execution is really what matters. It's pretty well known that I've been on a bit of hiatus from the game since the launch of Tier 4. I didn't really believe T4 would save the game like a lot of people did, and it turns out I was right. And I think what's kept me from just fully uninstalling and just giving up on the game is the fact that I know the history of the game. I know they have turned around before, and I am curious to see if they can do it again. But I'm not going to commit to it until I see it. But yeah, that is my thoughts on the situation of Lost Ark and really kind of my thoughts on the future. If they can turn it around and fix it, cool. If not, then well, we had a good run. Because honestly, I just can't support the game in the current state it's in. But that is just me. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Bye.